Nobody talks about Pickleball IQ. Everyone is obsessing over their third shot drop. They're drilling their dink. They're watching slow-motion videos of their backhand. And none of that is bad. Technique matters. But there's a layer of this game that sits above all of that. And most players never find it. It's not about hitting better shots, it's about making better decisions. It's about understanding what's actually happening in the rally before it happens, reading the court like a problem that's already been solved, and using information that's right in front of you that your opponent isn't using at all. That's Pickleball IQ. And the strange thing about it is that you don't need better hands to have it. You don't need to be more athletic. You just need to think about the game differently. These 5 strategies are things that smart players do on almost every single point, and most of the people they're playing against have no idea it's happening. By the end of this video, you will. Let's go. 1. Hit to the middle. When you don't know where to hit, most players, when they're unsure where to go with the ball, do one of 2 things. They panic and hit it somewhere random. Or they aim for a corner because corners feel aggressive and aggressive feels right. Both of those options are usually wrong. The right answer, the high IQ answer, is the middle. Every time. Here's why the middle is so much smarter than it looks. First, the middle of the court is the lowest part of the net. At the sidelines, the net is about 4 inches higher than it is at the center strap. That's not a huge margin, but it's real, and it means that every ball you aim toward the center has more room to clear the net. You're giving yourself more margin for error on every shot, not because you're soft, but because you're smart about geometry. Second, the middle creates a communication problem for your opponents. When a ball comes at the center of the court in doubles, both players have to make a split-second decision about who takes it. Even good teams hesitate. Even teams that communicate well have moments where one player defers to the other at exactly the wrong time, and the ball gets between them. When you aim at a corner, there's no ambiguity. Whoever is standing there takes it. When you aim at the middle, you create a question that has to be answered in real time under pressure. Sometimes they answer it well, sometimes they don't. Either way, you've made the point harder for them without doing anything extraordinary. Third, the middle eliminates angles. When the ball is in the center, your opponents have fewer options on the return. They can't go sharply cross-court from the middle without generating the angle themselves. And generating angles from scratch is harder than redirecting them. You've compressed their decision tree by hitting one ball to the right spot. When in doubt, go middle. It's not the exciting answer, it's the correct one. 2. Make them hit their weakest shot every single time. Here's something that separates recreational players from players who consistently win without seeming to do anything special. Recreational players think about where they want to hit the ball. Smart players think about what they want their opponent to have to hit next. Those are 2 completely different games. When your entire focus is on placing your shot well, you're thinking 1 step ahead. When your focus is on what your shot forces your opponent to do, you're thinking 2 steps ahead. And in a sport decided by small margins, that extra step is everything. The application is simple. Figure out what your opponents don't want to hit and hit it there. For most recreational players, that's the backhand. The backhand in pickleball is generally less powerful, less comfortable, and less reliable than the forehand, especially on speed-ups and anything fast. So target it, not occasionally, relentlessly. Same player, same side, ball after ball, until either they prove they can handle it or they break down trying. If one player on the opposing team is clearly weaker than the other, that player gets the ball. Not some of the time, most of the time. It feels unsporting to some people. It isn't. It's strategy. Your opponents are doing the same calculation about your team whether they're aware of it or not. The ones who are aware of it are winning. If both players are roughly equal, watch for whoever is out of position. The player who just stretched wide to reach your last shot is now recovering. Their weight is wrong, their paddle is low, and they have a half-second less time to prepare than their partner. Hit to them. The out-of-position player is always, in that moment, the weaker player. That's who gets the next ball. Stop thinking about your shot, start thinking about their shot. And if you want to take your pickleball to the next level, check out the Pickleball Master Pack. A pack that includes the Elite Player Guide, a guide with technical and tactical tips, exclusive routines, and much more. The Become a PPA Tour Player Guide, where you'll learn how to become a pro pickleball player. A full 7 days fitness routine to take your fitness to the next level, and a prevention routine to prevent injuries and enhance recovery. This pack already helped hundreds of pickleball players. Get yours clicking the link in the description. Let's continue with the video. 3. Change the speed before they get comfortable. Rhythm is the enemy, not your rhythm, theirs. The moment your opponents find a rhythm in a rally, they stop reacting and start anticipating. They know what's coming. They're moving before the ball arrives. They're comfortable. And comfortable opponents are dangerous opponents. The smartest thing you can do when a rally is going back and forth at the same pace is break the pattern before they settle into it. Not with a reckless attack, with a deliberate change of tempo that they haven't prepared for. Here's how this works in practice. You've been in a dink rally for 5 or 6 balls. Slow, low, controlled. Your opponent is bent down, hands soft, reading the pace of the exchange and matching it. Their brain is calibrated for slow, and then, without warning, you speed one up, not randomly. A ball that sits up slightly, one that gives you a real opportunity. And because their brain is still set to slow, they're late. They flinch. The reset goes wrong. You win the point not because the speed up was unreturnable, but because the contrast caught them completely off guard. It works in reverse too. If you've been driving the ball hard and your opponent has found a groove defending it, drop a dink in the kitchen. Let it bounce slow and low. They're still calibrated for fast, and now they're charging forward into a ball that has no pace at all. Awkward, rushed, uncomfortable. Speed changes are not just about the shot. They're about resetting your opponent's expectations. Every time they get comfortable with what you're doing, that comfort is information you can use. Change the pace and take it away from them. Comfortable opponents beat you. Uncomfortable opponents beat themselves. 4. Watch the paddle, not the ball. This one will feel strange the first time you try it, because everything about how we naturally follow sports, every instinct you have, tells you to watch the ball. The ball is the thing that's coming at you. The ball is what you have to hit, so you watch the ball. But here's the problem with watching the ball. By the time it leaves your opponent's paddle, the decision has already been made. The direction is set, the pace is set, the spin is set. All of that information is already baked in, and now you're just reacting to it. And reacting, as we all know from experience, means being late. One step behind, always just slightly rushed. Watching the paddle gives you the information before the decision is finalized, not after. The paddle face tells you where the ball is going before it gets there. A paddle face that's open, angled upward, is sending the ball up. A paddle face that's closed or square is keeping it low and fast. A wide, sweeping swing is generating cross-court angle. A compact, forward motion is going straight. A player who is reaching, stretched, off balance. That player has 1 or 2 options, not 5. You can already start moving before the ball is hit. The body gives you information too. Where is their weight? Where are their hips facing? Is their shoulder turned? Is their elbow high or low? All of this tells you something about what's coming, not with certainty, but with enough probability that you can get a half step ahead instead of a half step behind. Train yourself to watch the paddle and the body. Let the ball come into your peripheral vision as it gets close. You'll be early to balls you used to be late to. You'll cover ground you never covered before. And it will look to anyone watching like you got faster. You didn't. You just started reading earlier. 5. Let the point come to you instead of chasing it. This is the biggest IQ shift in all of pickleball. And it's the one most people resist the longest because it requires you to trust something that goes against every competitive instinct you have. Most players approach a rally with a plan to do something, hit a winner, create an opportunity, force the error. And that intention feels right. It feels like competing, like trying, like playing to win. But in pickleball, forcing things is almost always how you lose. Things. The player who is determined to make something happen is usually the one who makes something happen. With an error. Here's the shift. Instead of trying to win the point, try to not lose it. Put the ball back. Keep it low. Keep it in. And let your opponent decide when to take the risk. Because every ball they have to hit is another opportunity for them to make a mistake. Another chance for the rally to produce the error that ends it. And statistically, in recreational pickleball especially, the point usually ends because somebody missed. Not because somebody hit a winner. That somebody doesn't have to be you. This isn't passive. This isn't just pushing the ball back and hoping. It's a mindset that controls the risk in the rally. You're not waiting because you're afraid. You're waiting because you're smart. You're letting the point come to a moment where it's ready to be finished, where you have a ball you can actually attack, where the odds are in your favor. And then you go, not before. Patience is not the absence of aggression. Patience is aggression with better timing. The players who seem impossible to beat in long rallies aren't grinding because they can't attack. They're grinding because they understand that the right moment is worth waiting for, and that forcing the wrong moment is just a faster way to lose. Let the point come to you. It always does, eventually. So there it is. When you don't know where to go, go middle. It's safer, smarter, and creates confusion that costs your opponents points. Target the backhand, the weaker player, the one out of position, and make them hit their worst shot on every ball. Change the pace before they get comfortable and take away the rhythm they're building. Watch the paddle and the body, not just the ball, and stop being a half step late to everything. And let the point develop instead of forcing it. Patience isn't passive, it's the highest IQ move on the court. None of this requires a better body. None of it requires more practice reps. It requires a different way of looking at what's happening in front of you. Pickleball IQ isn't a talent, it's a decision. If one of these landed for you, drop it in the comments. I want to know which one. And if you want to keep seeing the game broken down the way it actually works, subscribe to the Pickleball Dude. See you in the next one.